All right, guys. There we go. We got the video. We got audio. I did play WoW last night, but I ended up playing my Paladin a lot on Season of Discovery. And I started a Warrior up, too, because I really am having like this epic back and forth. It's been going on for like a couple of weeks. Sometimes I really want to play the Pally, and other times I want to play Warrior, and I try to do the research and find out, well, which is better, and I feel one way at a certain time, and then I play that class for a while, and then I feel another way, and I go get on the other class. So I'm wondering if I should just have both, you know, and be able to bounce back and forth between the two. But that's what I spent my time. So I didn't do any questing at all in Shadowthorn Vale. So we're basically picking up exactly where we left off yesterday. So with that said, let me close out some of my tabs so I can conserve that RAM and just streamline my setup as well. Okay, so my Restream dashboard is looking good. YouTube with a refresh. Dun, da, 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 da. Okay, YouTube's looking good. Twitch also looking good. Kick is looking good. So I'll leave Rumble up. I always like to monitor Rumble. That's kind of my preferred platform right now. I just like Rumble. I appreciate the stance that they take against some of these farging authoritarian entire governments, nation state governments trying to get platforms to participate in their control of society. And Rumble has just given both middle fingers, double barrel, to these people and told them, we just won't operate in your nation then until you back off. And I love that stance. That is a righteous stance in my opinion. That's so alpha. But so anyway, I appreciate Rumble. So let's go ahead and click back into the game here. If I've got everything set up right, you didn't hear any difference in sound there. You've been hearing game audio, but for me, I was alt-tabbed, and so I did not hear game audio. But let's see. Let's go back to aspect of the hawk, and we'll actually get started on questing now in one of the most prolific zones from my perspective in all of classic World of Warcraft, Shadowthorn Vale. So we're down here, and we have a quest. We can run over and turn that quest in, then hop across and do a Curious Read and just start working our way east, I guess. and then turn north. Yeah, I think that's the plan. All right, so we're headed. What are these coordinates? 2770, let's say. Round up. 2770 in general is what I'm aiming for. All right, let's back off here a little bit. If there was anything I was supposed to research off screen, I forgot about it. Maybe I was supposed to find out if I could get a threat meter going here. I don't really remember. Man, I had a fantastic Christmas. Absolutely just about everything I could ask for. Important stuff. More important than mysteries and unwrapping gifts and stuff like that. And I hope that you guys did too. We are pressing on. We are steaming towards the new year now. 2024 is upon us. Boy, we live in heady times. And it's exciting. Uncertainty is what leads to excitement. You know, so exciting is not always a positive, but it's certainly not boring. All right, what did I say? 2770, so we're at 2972. $30.72. Let's see, how am I? Okay, if I'm headed straight north, 71, 30.71, 30.70. Okay, so the second number is the latitude. 70, so I need to get to 27. $29.69, $29.70. Ooh. Okay, what level are these guys? 41, and we're 41. Let's do this. Let's take out this magic wielder first. Hit him with the viper sting. Nobody is coming to your aid. Pretty boy Duncan. Named character. You know, playing paladin and warrior and priest on the Season of Discovery server always makes me really appreciate my hunter when I come back to him. He's just so easy and painless. And he just keeps getting stronger and stronger and stronger. I was watching a video earlier of World of Monsters. Is that what it's called? Monster Hunt World. And that's a game that I've kind of glanced at over the years in its various iterations, just every now and again. Sometimes I'll watch somebody, you know, part of a person's YouTube series on it, but I've never committed to getting it. But I don't know. It's on sale right now, and I'm considering it. Oh wow, the respawn here is pretty good. Take that. Okay, go ahead and put Viper aspect on. Recharge mana while we loot. So I didn't even read that quest, but we picked it up, we updated it. Supplies to Private Thorson. Okay, so then confirming that. Yes, we did what we needed to do. So now I need to head just due north. So that way we don't even have to face that dude. And just cross the bridge. I find I almost never use Scorpid Sting. I'm thinking maybe that might, the only time that, where it finds its usefulness is raid. Maybe. Okay, so what are they wanting us to do here? The Akirus Reed. Got the Naga. Oh, whoops. I already had Sting on him. I thought I had missed it. It doesn't really feel like the levels are flying by, but I do think that we are... it does, I'll say it feels to me, because, you know, that encompasses the subjective nature of it. It feels to me like we are above average in our leveling pace. Look at this. Already we're at 65,000 XP per hour. It says we're going to level in 5 minutes. That's surprising to me. My norm is like 23 to 24. So, again, I've said in the past that it would make sense that this number would go up as we climb up in levels, because you need more and more XP, and stuff begins to yield more and more XP. But still, I mean, through all of the 30s, the 20s, and the 10s, my average was around 20 to 23. And now we've just, this jump is sudden. This is a sudden jump. It's only been like this since last episode, I think. How are you doing on health? You're doing good. Okay. I'm not seeing this planta that they want us to harvest, this reed. Level 43. So, you know, the level told me that it was level 30 to 45, so I actually thought that we might be a little bit over-leveled for it, but so far, it seems to be right where we would want it to be. It's been 40 plus down here where we're at. So, my assumption then is up north, where it meets Duskwood, is probably where the easier quests are at. That makes me think we want to head up there almost immediately then, so we can farm as much XP as possible off those quests before they turn gray. They're already going to be green in all likelihood. Okay, they drop the reed. I see. So we're at 3 of 10. Look, the bear just dropped below 85%, I think. Wreck-It Ralph is wrecking shop. Okay, yeah, see the loot, it says that they drop it. So I'm not gonna find it in the wild. It'll be on them. I'm just kind of watching that pet health. He is doing extraordinarily well. I can see why the Icy Veins leveling guide did not put points into pet mend like I did. That said, we're talking about possibly, and it's still a waste for me because I don't do it during leveling, but in dungeons, my pet might be able to off-tank. The healing he's receiving is so insane. See, let's put heal on him. Here's his bar. He just never really... It's like having a pocket healer. He would drop in health and then immediately heal back up to 100%. He doesn't have a heal on him at all outside of his passive healing. And he's still doing pretty good. Six of 10, okay. I think it's time to go back to Viper. I believe I've read you do that at 30%. I've been doing it kind of at 50%. Seven of 10, good drop rate. Pretty good drop rate. A lot better than looking for those gems under the ocean a while ago. Last episode. Ding, ding, ding. Protective Pavis. That's a gray. Alright. We are going to continue to go into Frenzy. Shield. That's what a Pavis is. Okay. 2 more. With a solid drop rate. Oh, he's not tracking. Look, my DPS is not being tracked. Why is that? Huh. Oh, here's window control. That's where you create a new window. Solo play. I wonder why it's not. Well, I don't want to waste time on the stream figuring that out. What we'll do is we'll just disable it. Add-ons. Take details off. Reload UI. Okay. Cannot open quest log while in combat. Open it manually. Okay. Oh, here we are. Accurus read 8 of 10. I didn't get anything off the last body. Oh, not off that one either. The game has gone atypical. I think that should probably be pronounced atypical. Comes from the Greek, and at least in Koine Greek, which is the Greek language that was spoken. That's Alexandrian Greek. When you have the letter A in front of a word, it means it's the opposite of what that word normally is. That's why a word like atheist is an example. That's where we get that from. Atheist, right? So not a theist. And I think it's supposed to be pronounced soft A. Anyway, these are the things I think about whenever I'm hunter leveling, because the game's so easy. It affords me the luxury of kind of letting my mind meander across various things while still having fun. I mean, it's still fun. That's what kind of blows me away, is that I don't find it to be boring, but it's easy. It's really easy. Look, we'll try to make it not easy. Darn it, if I can just target these guys correctly. Oh no, something tabbed there. Feigned death. This one's not being fooled. Health. There. No! Grab threat, homie. Grab threat, wreck it. $262 crit whenever I'm on... Oh, I'm on Hawk. I want to be on Viper. Maybe that's what the problem... Maybe I started out on Viper. I might have made a mistake there. I've been fighting most of that fight on Viper. But as you notice, we lived. We live. Right? Hunter. Farging unstoppable freight train of leveling. Oh, that's right. That's a whole story. This page here. You'll find like there's a whole book. You saw that was page 27. Let's use rune cloth. I don't want to use one. We're recuperating pretty quickly. Let's go back to Hawk. We're gonna go north now. We're gonna get out on this road. We're gonna come all the way up here. Because, like, what's this? Investigate the camp. See, that's gray already. Yeah, we gotta go up there. Okay. I'm gonna mute Mike and grab a drink while we travel. All right. I somehow made it. All right, we got quite a ways to go. Not through there. Here we go. I don't remember what's up there, but something I think it's bad. I don't think we want to be up there yet. That's just my instincts. I'm reaching back to like ancestral level memories. Going back that far in World of Warcraft. There's Samantha again. We already killed her once. She'll probably aggro us. No, she's peaceful. Just a shamanistic nature lover. I feel bad for killing her before. Kind of. I mean, should I? She's cloven hoofed and horde. No, I do not feel bad. Stranglethorn Tigress. I remember hunters used to love coming here to get one of these tigers for a pet because they're so strikingly gorgeous, very vibrant colors, and they're a farging tiger. But then we learned that surprisingly, tigers are not the best pets, DPS pets. For a long time, we felt like cats were, but from what I hear, wolf. If you're going for a DPS pet in endgame where you're doing dungeons and raids and stuff, you want to get a wolf because their howl has a buff that helps melee. So again, I keep catching myself like my own quirks. I think I'm a teacher at heart, and I like to communicate information, especially to people who don't know about it at the moment. So that's sort of, that's sort of my default mindset. And so I kind of keep remembering that of all the people that would tune in and watch this, I'm probably the least knowledgeable. And so the things I talk about, like, oh, look at this new thing I discovered, let me explain it to you. you already, it's like child's play. You know, you're way past that. So it makes me laugh at my own quirks. There's a tiger. Curzon's compound. Not a horde area, it's just a village in general. But we got singing crystal shards over here to the right. Let's do that. I take it they'll be found on these trolls that we're seeing. I wanna get up into the hills. Oh, the basilisks, that's right. Yeah, see, level 34. Will I get anything off of you? It says no, I will not. Not even XP. Here, let's put a Viper Sting on him just to get... We'll leech mana off of him. That feels a little bit Warlocky, and I'll tell you, that's exactly what I like about Warlock too. I'm still thinking of playing Warlock. It's the entire idea of taking what's theirs and turning it into yours. It's really, that's why I was speculating the other day about how I think it's the power fantasy of these quote unquote evil classes that's what appeals to people, including myself. Alright, so here's another one. It's nice to be a hunter and be able to track. There we go. I'm only at 2 of 10 so far, so the drop right here is not that great. Or maybe I should say hasn't been that great. Oh, let me pass this on to you guys. Just, this is food for thought. It's for you to go and check out for yourself. Look into for yourself sometime, or dismiss as you like. But I would be remiss, I think, if I didn't mention this. It's not like I think a lot of people will hear it, but I'm going to pass it on anyway. So, throughout my life, I've gone through different theological, I guess, beliefs, and there's a lot of denominations in Christianity, but one of the ones the one that I started out in, and that I still think has a lot of things right. I think they get misunderstood a lot. is what's called word of faith. Now, out of this came what typically Baptists mockingly called the name it and claim it crowd. Okay, and that's because it was employed, I think, in the wrong way, taken the wrong way, even preached in the wrong way sometimes, where it was talking about go out and say what it is that you want and believe that you have the authority from Christ, the biblical authority, to call that which is not into existence and pray for it. You know, so what you would get is you would get people praying for mansions and Cadillacs and stuff like that, right? Which was not really what was the way that it should be thought of. Now, I have a point to make that is not specifically theological, okay? So if you're not a theist, I would expect that you'd probably be rolling your eyes right now, so that's what I'm wanting to let you know, is that I have a larger point here. But I got to explain this part first. So, also, the Word of Faith movement believes very strongly in the biblical verses about healing. You know, I mean, it says, for example, by his stripes we were healed, right? Well, there's other factions, or denominations, I should say, that believe some of those miraculous gifts were only for Jesus's time. And these are called cessationists. It means that they believe that those kinds of gifts stopped with the New Testament. Now, I don't know. They have. I've heard the explanation before. They have something, but I'm just sitting here telling you I can't recall how they support that conclusion biblically. It seems to me that what they're doing is they're inferring that it's not biblical. It's not biblical. They're taking things that are written directly in the Bible and then making an inference, is what it seems to me. But I don't know. It seems like they had a better argument than that. I just can't remember what it is. Okay. So anyway, so there you have it. A denomination within Christianity called a Word of Faith that believes how you speak has a lot to do with kind of almost self-fulfilling prophecies. What you allow your tongue to get away with. I'm looking for those. We're into a different quest area. Directly impacts your reality, and what kinds of things manifest themselves, and what kinds of things don't. So it's the power of the tongue, the power of the tongue, the power of the tongue. It's not about Cadillacs and mansions. It's about a whole lot more than just material things. It's about how you view yourself. It's about, do you see yourself as a loser or a winner? You know? Now, here's where I think it gets really interesting, and this is what I'm wanting to put on the table for everybody. It doesn't matter what your background is or what your beliefs are or what your beliefs are not. This is for everybody, I think, to consider and think about. And you can go check me on this. But I remember whenever I was in college, I used my degree. I used my GI Bill after I got out of the military. So it was really just a few years ago that I went to college. I was 40 whenever I went to college. And in one of my classes, we had a psychologist come and speak to us. He was a professor at the university. That was his field. He taught psychology. And he came. Now, remember, Liberty University, being a Baptist university, does not tend to subscribe to Word of Faith. They're really kind of open to everybody, but they were founded as a Baptist university. And a lot of their professors are going to be aligned in that denomination. And so they are definitely very much not a name it and claim it crowd, right? But this professor comes in, and he was talking, the class I was going through was about disabled people and how things are for them and how we can improve stuff in the church for disabled access and things of that nature. So a lot of the class dealt with misery, personal misery, and how to cope with that and how to deal with people that are going through hardships and difficulty, in the moment and stuff like that. So the professor that visited us had a tragedy happen in his life where he was involved. Him and his family were hit by a car. And the result was his daughter was permanently injured mentally. She was in the back seat. The back half of the car took the brunt of the damage. And I think she was in a coma for a while. But the upshot being, she was never going to be mentally the same again. Right? Now, he wasn't there to talk about healing, which is some of the stuff that Word of Faith talks about, right? He was there to talk about how do you deal with trauma and tragedy in your life and then press on. And what he said that his field had discovered, psychology, this is psychology as a whole. This is the science of psychology. This includes people who believe in God and people who do not believe in God. It's not a Christian psychology, it's psychology in general. Had discovered this thing called cognitive therapy. Okay? And cognitive therapy was basically about positive affirmations. If you're old enough to remember the Saturday Night Live skit where you had Stuart, I think his name was Stuart Smalley, and his daily affirmations, he would look in the mirror and say, I'm a good person, and gosh darn it, people like me, and that kind of stuff. But, the whole idea of daily affirmations had to be a thing before they could make that a skit, right? And so it was. And that's what this psychology found out, that cognitive therapy actually works. Okay, so point number one, I was telling you about Word of Faith, and Word of Faith had made these claims, pun intended, about what the power of your tongue can unleash, positive or negative, in your world. Everybody laughs it to scorn at the time that it comes out, which was quite a while ago. We're talking about the 40s, if not the 30s. If I remember correctly, it got really kind of prevalent in the 80s, but mocked really hard. Then decades later, psychology, the science, independent of faith, finds something called cognitive therapy and discovers what you say has a great deal to do with how you feel about things and how you perceive life. Okay, so that's part two. Part three is a friend of mine from the military. And this guy was this guy had some things happen to him when he was young that should never happen to young people. I don't know all the details, and I'm not going to go into it because he's my friend, and I don't want even though I'm not going to give you a name, I just don't want to share everybody's whole story, on the internet. But you guys can maybe get the idea. There's all kinds of traumas that young people can face. Did I not get all of that? Hold on. Curious. I can look at no, they're still there. I have 9 of 10. Doggone, I thought I got all of them. There are things that can happen to young people that kind of sidebar them pretty hard. It can be anything from physical abuse to verbal abuse can do it also. to sexual molestation and things. There's a gradient of intensity, but young people are very impacted, right? So something happened to him when he was younger. Now, in addition to that, he was stationed at Oklahoma whenever Timothy McVeigh blew that building up. I forget what it was called. The Trade Center? No, that doesn't sound right. It was called something. And he volunteered to go help with the cleanup, and he saw things that he's never been able to forget. Remember, there was a daycare center in that building, guys. Years later, the military, sizing up the threat of Scud missiles with Saddam Hussein and Iraq, decides that it needs to inoculate its entire force with an experimental vaccine against anthrax. Now, this was so controversial at the time that at least in the Air Force, they gave you the option to sever your contract with the Air Force and leave without any penalty at all if you did not want to take this vaccine. That's how dicey this thing was. And my friend that was at the Oklahoma City bombing, he took that deal. He said, no way am I putting an experimental injection in my body. So he didn't trust it. So he got out. Now when he got out, he went kind of from job to job. This is pretty normal when you get out of the military. Just transitioning into civilian society can be a bit of a rough go initially. And he went through a few jobs, and it took him around the country, and he eventually winds up in Queens, New York City. And he's working at, I'm not even going to say where he was working. He was working at one of the big buildings downtown, and he was there at work when 9/11 happened. I need to get through this mess. Now, similar to what he did whenever he was at Oklahoma, he volunteered immediately to help in the immediate aftermath of 9/11. And once again, what he saw, I don't know if it was what he saw that day or if it was accumulation of everything that had happened so far, but it broke him. And he completely fell off the map. My entire shop was freaking out. The place, my work center. And they were asking me, because I was about the only one that had really stayed in touch, in close touch after he had left the military. And they were asking me, where's X? I don't want to say his name. Where's X? Where's X? Have you heard about X? They knew he was in NYC. And for about 3 months, I couldn't get in touch with this guy. 3 months, absolutely nothing heard. I was going through lists, guys, trying to find out, did my friend die? Sorry, that was really hard to say. So anyway, he had not. What happened is that he went basically catatonic. He didn't need assisted living or anything, but he went back home to where he was from, the state he was originally from, and he stayed with his aunt. And he didn't even speak a word for about 6 months. I think it was 6 months before he finally said something. And then he kind of crawled back for a while after that. Well, so why do I tell you that whole long story? What's that got to do with anything I'm talking about? Well, my friend is an atheist. And because of the things that he's gone through, he finally had sense enough to go ahead and seek counseling. That was a bit of an uphill climb because in the military, it's mental. It's not like this too much anymore, but especially when we were in, mental health was still a stigma. You kind of wanted to take. There was sort of this alpha approach.
Be careful around here. These landmines will help us defend ourselves.
I'm fine. Whatever it is just a problem that I need to deal with, and it'll be fine. It's good. I don't need any professional help or anything. Leave me alone or we're going to fight.
And it used to be a lot of work.
That kind of a thing, right? So nobody really wanted to look at themselves and be like, man, I need to go get counseling. It's not really like that so much anymore. Not just in the military, but in general. Like, people understand a lot more about mental health now. But at that time, you had to work through stigmas before you could even begin to go seek counseling. And my friend went through all that stuff, and he finally did start to go get counseling. And whenever I was at Liberty, I was able to see him again. And I knew that he had been receiving, oh, you know what? The quest that's available here, it's gray. That's why it's not showing up. Questy is letting me know it wouldn't do anything for me. Okay, so I was able to see him, and I knew that he had gone to counseling, and I thought I had remembered him saying that he was getting cognitive therapy. Well, once I heard this message from this psychologist that visited my class talking directly about cognitive therapy, I had the chance to ask him. I said, X, aren't you... I just learned something in school regarding counseling, and I know you received some counseling. I was wondering if I could ask you a question, then describe what I think it is, and ask you if I'm right about that. And he said, yeah, go ahead. So I said, my impression, or from what I remember, I think you told me before that the kind of counseling you were getting was called cognitive therapy. Is that right? And he said, yeah, that's it. And I knew I didn't have to ask him this. I just knew because he kind of he was excited about, so I don't want to say he bragged on it because that seems like the wrong context, but it was kind of like that. He was so excited. He shared, like I'm sharing right now. He shared his, I guess, testimony of how this kind of counseling had helped him a lot. And so then I told him about this professional professor who came and spoke to us regarding cognitive therapy. And I told him, according to this guy, cognitive therapy is such and such and such, all the stuff that I had described. It's speaking positively, getting your mindset to where you really don't accept negative things, not in an unrealistic way, but by actually challenging your negative thoughts as if, and seeing if that's actually a realistic assessment or an emotional reaction. And then choosing to speak positively about yourself and your situation as kind of like a mental discipline. And he said, yeah, that's exactly what it is. So that's what I'm wanting to pass on, is for you guys would have to look into this yourself. But I'm telling you, a truth is a truth is a truth, right? From my perspective, God has a monopoly on truth. And if an atheistic scientist comes across that truth, he's simply uncovering what God already had put in place. But if you're an atheist, you might see it from a different perspective. It's the same idea as a clock is right twice a month. You might see that the theist, well, okay, so you came across truth. Big deal. Doesn't mean that there's such a thing as God. I'm not here trying to sell God to you right now. What I'm letting you know is that you had a theistic movement. Remember, theism is anchored to philosophy. So you could maybe, if it helps you, think of this in terms of there was a philosophical movement in the 30s and 40s, I believe, over this word of faith thing that talked about what we would call cognitive therapy these days. Watching what you say about yourself, watching what you say about your situation. In biblical terms, calling things into being, those things which are not, as though they were. Right? Maybe you want to call it self-manifestation Or I think there's a term out there, self-actualization, self-fulfilling prophecy. All of these things are revolving around the same idea. So the concept is what I want us to focus on here, just the concept. And you had this come out in the 30s and 40s. It gets laughed to scorn by its own faction, the Christian faction, right? Years later, science, quote unquote, catches up, and the field of psychology begins to embrace this idea of cognitive therapy. And then the last thing I want to tell you, I forgot about this part. There is a neurological scientist out there. I forget her name, but she was explaining how we have found that you can remap your brain's, what are they called? Synapses. You can rewire the network in your brain and how signals travel from one point to another and what areas of the brain they go through how you speak about yourself and your situation. And it produces different kinds of personalities or people or outlooks. It's the difference between a negative-minded person and a positive-minded person. And that you have the power to, that the brain is able to be renewed, like regenerate, like a starfish, in these areas of psychology and how it sees the world. So those three aspects all together, those are three different areas, three different fields that are all saying the same thing and have been saying it for various amounts of time, depending on which field you're talking about. And to me, that's worth looking into. I hope now you guys understand why I was saying it doesn't matter what your background is, what you believe in or what you don't believe in. What I'm talking about here could be applicable for you. So I don't know if that would be of use to anybody out there, but at least I've said it and put it out on the internet for people to reference. And I'm looking over and just now seeing, hey, Wasim. And he says, hey, buddy, somber tale. Yeah, I didn't want to bring anybody down, but that's like real life, right? That's real stuff, man. And so anyway. Oh, by the way, Wasim, you were talking about you really liked the opening song, and I just realized the one that I gave you, which is called Commander Impulse by Kid Divic or something. I don't know if that's the one that you were referencing. There's another one called Away by Patrick something. Let me look this up real quick, because that one I can find really easy. OBS intro, raw elements. Here we go. Away by Patrick Patrikios. Patrikios. And Commander Impulse by DivKid. Both of those are free to use and available on YouTube Commons. Hey man, I hope you had a good well, I'll say holiday. I don't know what your background is. You know, for me it was Christmas, but I'm not sure how you might be aligned. But everybody, pretty much everybody, got time off. Most people did, or got paid extra for working. So I hope it went well for you. And that you're looking forward to a happy new year coming up here in just a few days. 2024. Big things happening. Let's see here. Where am I at now? All right, I'm right here around. I need 15 blood scalp ears. It looks like I knocked out the tigers. Yes. Okay. So we're just getting these low-level quests right now while we can still get XP for them. We want to actually drive through this as quick as we can, because these guys, you can see the gray numbers here, they're not yielding me any XP, I don't believe. 1 of 15, okay. Panthers. Yeah. I think I want to go ahead and switch to track humanoids. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Two of 15. I started a warrior up on the season of Discovery last night, Wasim. So I'm going to try and figure out which of these classes I like more, Paladin or Warrior. And the only downside is that with Season of Discovery, there are some... It's different than Wrath of the Lich King or Retail. But and then also you're level capped, right? But that's also, that ends up, in my opinion, being a plus as well, because it forces you to stay in the same general level band, I will say. Like a band of leveling. And really getting to know that class. Let's go this way. There's a bunch of them over here. How you find playing Hunter? Enjoying it? Yes, I am, Wasim. It's especially like on Season of the Discovery, I have a priest, a paladin, and a warrior. And so every time I come back to Wrath of the Lich King and play Hunter, I appreciate it all over again, because the leveling is so much easier. It's laid back, and yet I still have fun with it. That's the thing that kind of blows my mind. I'm not bored. Let's go wreck shop. We're going to put some heals on the pet. Everything's going well. These guys are no competition. Look, they can't get him down. When it's a gray bar and slammed up here to the right, he's full. He's like 90% or above on health. Go get this guy also. This is just child's play. I mean, not only are they low level, but my pet's a beast at this point. He's darn near impossible to take down. Even with no healing, just with the passive healing that he gets and the amount of stamina and armor that he has, he's tough to take on. And then, you know, he's hitting you with that swipe ability. But then whenever you toss in the massive amount of healing that he can get from Minpet, It's just ridiculous. That's a big ask. You know, go kill that bear. How? All right, what do we got here? 21 armor. That's not going to replace what I've got. This isn't going to either. All right, we're good. We are good. Let's continue to kill stuff. Are we done yet? I haven't even. Where am I at? I'm up here. 8 of 15. Okay, where's that on here? There we are. Blood scalp ears. 8 of 15. Get that guy. Wasim says warriors can be slow and hard to level, especially in vanilla, but are OP in endgame. They're very gear dependent. Yeah, that's what I've read also. In fact, most places that I see talking about warriors, they tell you might want to run it as an alt so that you can afford to gear him up with your main as he goes through the leveling process. And then I was watching a video last night. Actually, there's a handful of videos that have reached the same conclusion, but the one that comes to mind is by a guy named Sarth. And he was doing like a tier list, and he was referencing, I forget what the name of the site is, but they parse data for raids. And that data was showing that Warrior was out in front in DPS by a country mile. Nothing came close. And then the other thing it shows you is it shows you, so it'll show you like a bar of where the average performance is at, and it gives you a spectrum from like the low end of average to the high end. But then separate from that bar, they have a dot for every class that represents the absolute peak performance that's been recorded so far. And so not only was the average median damage by a warrior out in front of everybody, and this is rating, this is end game rating, so it's geared warriors, but the absolute pinnacle point of level of performance was also way out in front. The next group, second place, although significantly behind warrior, was hunter. So hunters, much easier to level, do exquisite DPS, and they're simple. They have a pretty straightforward rotation. They have a lot of different tools and abilities to use if you need to. So it just seems like a really terrific beginner-friendly class. I'm very happy with my decision, because for anybody who caught the beginning of this series, I was really kind of the entire spectrum of classes I was open to it. I was trying to figure out, what am I going to play, you know? And at first I was looking at priest, and then I thought about warrior, and behind the scenes I thought about several other classes and stuff, and then it dawned on me, like, maybe warlock was another one I was considering. And then I thought maybe I should go with hunter, and I'm just really happy that that's what I did. I think it was the right overall choice, especially for what I'm wanting to do, where I'm bridging between both Wrath of the Lich King and retail. And it looks like hunter is consistent across all three platforms. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but you know what I'm talking about. Season of Discovery, Wrath of the Lich King, and retail. And I've heard that with warrior, especially, I guess specifically I should say, Fury Warrior is like carpal tunnel waiting to happen. So I want to investigate and see if there's any truth to that, or if that's just like purposeful hyperbole. Because Warrior's a lot of fun to play. But I'm an older guy now, and I don't want to put myself in a bad position when it comes to my hands. I love playing video games, and if I ever lost the ability to play video games, I'm not quite sure what I would do with myself. I would find something, but it would necessitate a change. I'd rather just avoid that. Wasim says, in Vanilla and Burning Crusade, certain classes were unbalanced in the leveling process. It wasn't until Wrath when they fixed that issue. Oh, okay. So maybe it was Wrath where warriors got access to Victory Rush, for example, which really helps them heal up after a kill and continue pressing on with leveling. And Wasim says that's why it's the best expansion, generally speaking. Ah, okay. And I have heard that. A lot of people, it seems to be like the overwhelming perception is that Wrath of the Lich King was pinnacle World of Warcraft. And that it's not even close. It was easily the best expansion out there. People liked the storybook narrative of it. It had a more cohesive storyline. Maybe what would you call that? A more overarching high level up at the upper tiers involving whole factions versus Classic, which seems to be focused more on your individual guy and like the individuals you run into. The civilian population primarily. But Wrath seems to be more campaign driven. Oh, we are full. I need one more blood scalp here. Yeah, that's good stuff. I like listening to you, Wasim. You help fill in gaps for me. A lot of stuff that you say, I've seen it mentioned elsewhere, but it doesn't mean anything to me unless I'm actually talking with you versus watching somebody. How do I put that? Things on YouTube, you got to take it with a grain of salt because it became an industry. There are people who put stuff up just for clickbait, for the sake of. For example, Elden Ring is it's probably going to win Game of the Year. Maybe it already has. I don't know if we've already had those or not, but it's certainly a candidate. Absolutely terrific game. Broke a lot of ground. Went back to some traditional things that people liked a lot. Seemed to be about quality over quantity, even though there is a lot of quantity also. But you'll have niche channels out there that because there is so much stuff written that's overwhelmingly positive about Elden Ring, they'll do a video of 15 ways that Elden Ring disappoints. And it's because they have to find a niche. The area that they would like to go to is completely saturated. So that's what I mean, is that I can look up video after video after video on YouTube, but I'm never quite sure what am I getting a hold of here. Is it the truth? Is it not the truth? Is it somebody just trying to make money or trying to play the game or play the algorithm? And then whenever I hear somebody in my chat channel, actually just a normal human being with no hidden agenda or anything, that's whenever I can really feel like I trust it. So I like to hear that from you guys, and it's very much appreciated for somebody who, my head's still swimming from all the changes that have happened with this game. I'm thankful that we have these 3 different platforms that I can kind of take it all in slowly. Okay, let's go back up here, grab a flight down here to, is this Booty Bay? And turn these quests in because my bags are full. Well, I guess I could just sell. Yeah, I probably ought to do that because the flight time, we should just sell. Okay, I need to get over. I remember this area. I died here a few times in PvP. Get away, tiger. Are you for real? Here. That tiger really wanted to stick around. Maybe there's someone I can sell to here. I think there is. Yep.
Greetings.
Okay, so I gotta keep that. I don't really need the mana. Tiger meat can be sold, medium hide. I need to... No, I don't need these either. Cures diseases. Jungle remedy. Large fang, heavy leather, medium leather. I need these. I don't know if I'm really wanting to do this. It takes up a lot of bag space. I'm gonna ditch it. I don't really care about these. I don't need that. I don't need that. I do need these. I don't need the silk anymore. Library script. The Stone of the Tides. Is this the quest for those pages? We'll find out here in a minute. Okay, sell the wool.
Light bless you. I buy and trade.
Okay. So then that leaves me at 15 open slots.
Be careful.
Okay. We can continue questing then. Let's go back over here and get these 8 tumbled crystals. Okay, venture company. So I take it that it's these guys that drop it. No. Otherwise, they would have the little loot bag on them. Tumbled crystal. Let's. He's done it this time. Oh yeah, this was funny. My Way theft. The venture company geologists near Lake Nasferity are deeply interested in those strange blue crystals they have been finding in the mines. Bring me samples of the stone from their geologists. Okay, so it's their geologists that are wearing, or that hold them. So there should be maybe a mine entrance up here. I don't know. Let's just start killing stuff. Okay. I want to work my way. Here we go. Ah, there we go, geologist. There's 2 of them. so much violence. I'm really impressed with Wreck-It. Ralph. Ralph is amazing. He can bring the heat. Burn. I love that. Yeah. Okay, 3 of 8. Need more geologists. There's got to be like a cave entrance, but I don't see it reflected on the map. Wasim says, Season of Discovery is a twist of vanilla gameplay, but with certain Wrath class abilities. Like a best of both worlds version, hence why so many people playing. I was just about to say that. That must be why so many people are attracted to it. I was just thinking last night, but I don't know if it's true, because I would have to go look at what the server populations are for retail. But to me, it occurred to me last night that if World of Warcraft, if Blizzard totally ditched WoW retail, just scrapped it, went back to what they're doing with seasons on the classic, and just started over by doing like what you're talking about, blending the best of Wrath into vanilla, and brought in the updated graphics of WoW retail, then probably I was thinking almost everybody would just play seasons. But it would take so much guts from a corporate standpoint, and even an artistic one, where you have all that lore that you've written through all these expansions, to just go back and just scrap it all and go back and start over again. But if you did, with an upgraded graphics engine, you might dominate the world once again. There's a ton of people on those seasonal servers, man. A lot. And the other thing I was thinking of, this is just simply, I'm spitballing here, but last night while I was working on my warrior, I started a human warrior, so I'm right there at the Abbey at the beginning area, and everybody was talking about bots. And I saw them, man. They're all mages and hunters, and they're named something crazy like I'll give you an example. It's really easy to give an example. That would be a name, right? And they're boxing also. So they're like multiple accounts that are slaved together and supporting each other. And I was thinking to myself that maybe one of the solutions to this, you would need to be on a PvP server. And it would have to be understood and communicated enough on the server that even newbies kind of understood what was going on. And then Blizzard would have to be okay with it. And I don't know that they would, because they might be getting a piece of the pie here from the bots. But the idea would be that you would counter the bots with bots. So if you have Alliance bots farming Defias and animals and stuff so that they could skin the leather and sell it, what you would do is you would start a small band of horde bots. You would level them up to you wouldn't need to go very high. You could go to like level 20 or something, and you would have them programmed that instead of killing NPCs, they're programmed to kill these Alliance bots. And every time they res, they kill him again. Because that's what they are, right? They're bots. So the guy puts it on autopilot and leaves. But when he comes back the next day and finds out that his gold per hour is just in the dumpster because his dudes were getting farmed for honor, for HK status, then he goes someplace else. I was just kind of wondering if that would work. We need more of those geologists. Oh, another fellow hunter, a dwarf too. He looks cool. He's got the best haircut. I took my haircut because I thought it was interesting. I didn't know that the hair moved like this, though. That looks pretty good, but I have a bald head. The crown of his head is bald, and then he's got the long ponytail in the back. Man, I done ran myself out of my little quest zone. I gotta find it again. So I even thought to myself, like, as long as you could get it out, get the news out in forum chat and also online on the forum chats online, but not forum chat, server chat and in forum chat, and people understood that this is the method being used. You could give those horde bots, the anti-bot bots, you could have an agreed upon naming convention. So you would call them maybe BK and then whatever combination of numbers after, right? So you could literally just mash your keyboard on the numbers, but BK would be bot killer, right? So it would be BK 17849. And that's how people would be able to know, okay, this isn't the horde camping us. These are anti-bot bots. Ran myself out of it again. But, again, I've heard some things where it seems like Blizzard almost maybe benefits from this to some degree in the background. I've heard stuff about bots being reported to moderators and moderators contacting that person and saying, hey, you send me $500 right now and I won't ban you. Otherwise, you're gone. And so deals are being made. That's just kind of... seems to be kind of how things gravitate. And then I heard something about the WoW CEO was selling, well, they're called boosters. I don't exactly know how all that works, but it's done through gold mining, is what I understand. So if even the CEO is selling that stuff on his Twitter page, then it kind of makes me think that Blizzard might not be interested in taking a serious approach on anti-botting. This is the only place for these geologists. Maybe I just need to kill everything and hope that the repop brings me some more geologists. Wasim says I hit the nail on the head. Yeah. Talking about Blizzard being kind of complicit. You know what it makes me think of, Wasim? I thought of this analogy also. The way I came up with this idea is I began to think in terms of, okay, this is like a virtual world, right? So what you have is you have a gangster moving in with his team. And so the way you have to counter this is you have to be kind of like the mafia, where you go in and you fight fire with fire. That's how I came up with the bot idea first. But then I thought in terms of, okay, but what about the cops? And that's Blizzard, right? And with the police, the problem you're running into is that some cops are good and some cops are corrupt, and it's hard to tell who's who, right? And so if you're working through the police, you're rolling the dice as to whether or not they're going to help you out or whether they're secretly working against you in the background. And so that's kind of how I came up with the idea of maybe like the community has to handle this. Because that's how the mafia holds power in a lot of these neighborhoods, is that, yeah, they're out there shaking everybody down for their piece of the pie. And that sucks. That's organized crime. They're criminals, right? Criminals are not good people, and they're not interested in you and your welfare. But they'll do what they have to do to maintain their position, and sometimes that includes handling neighborhood problems. It includes handing out turkeys to the poor on Thanksgiving, winter coats in the winter, right? Hamas does the same kind of stuff, for example. It's not unique to the mafia is what I'm getting at. And this is just kind of part of humanity. It's how things work. So that's how I kind of came upon this idea of what can the community do to disrupt this operation. And that anti-bot idea is what came to mind. All right, 5 of 8. This guy died running away. I like this about Beastmaster. You don't have to stop moving. Except for auto shot. But for your actual abilities, you could do that on the run. 6 of 8. Big crits. Alright, working our way back this direction for repop. see anything. We need 2 more. There's a surprisingly low amount of mobs to get these items from. I can't imagine what this might be like on Season of Discovery when we get to that point. Because those servers are really, really packed. Oh, we can't even see this guy. Oh, but my bear's handling him. He's under the rock. He clipped through. I'm gonna let Ralph take him out. Wasim says, Beast Mastery is very pet dependent, good leveling spec, but in Wrath, Marksman and Survival became the go-to specs. Yeah, that's what I heard. Just depends on the game style you like. I heard Beast Mastery came back real strong in Season of Discovery and in Retail. In Retail, it seems like you go... All of them are really good. From what I've been reading. Oh, look, we got a work boss over here. But that is what I was planning on doing, is leveling with Beast Mastery and then swapping to Marksman. But I don't even really know how long... Oh, he's got multi-shot. I don't know how long I would stay at max level. I don't know how long I'll stick around for end game on Wrath of the Lich King. I'm thinking I'd like to run some dungeons. But that might be all I do, because I certainly don't want to join a guild. My plan is going to take me into a new character on Retail. So I don't want to join a guild and then, you know, just let them down by not being available. But if I can pug it, I would like to do some dungeons, I think, for Wrath of the Lich King. I never did them before, so that's part of the content that I want to experience. And then maybe later down the road, I'd come back to this character and try out endgame. We are still sitting at 6 of 8. I can't believe this is a pain in the neck. Miner, mechanic, miner. Nothing over here. Ralph, where are you at, bud? Oh, there he is. He came flying in from the top ropes. Gave him the people's elbow. Ah, geologist. That's what I want. So note to self, maybe don't do this quest on Season of Discovery when we get to that point. 7 of 8. Need one more. One more. Miner over there, miner right there. Maybe up top, but I think that was just there was a work boss up there. And the other two, I'm pretty sure, are miners. Man, I really like this guy. I'm so happy I got everything right with this pick, I think. The fact that I picked Hunter to go with, and the fact that I went with Dwarf, when I used to mock the way that dwarves looked. I thought they looked really funny. Everything up is a miner. Okay, circle back. We just need one more. Come on, game. Miner, miner. On Season of Discovery, I could really see tracking being a real advantage with how competitive things are. You know, I need to really truly overcome my own instincts too. I don't really know what to call it. I don't think social anxiety is accurate. I think that for me to use that in relation to myself would be kind of unfair to people who actually suffer from social anxiety. But it's something maybe akin to that, where I think it's a combination of I like to do things myself without any. I like to be self-sufficient, and also a little bit of, for lack of a better word, anxiety about asking for help or talking to new people. But in Season of Discovery, I mean, the mechanic is there. You got 5 people in a zone farming for the same thing. Invite everybody to group. And I see people do it all the time. It's the absolute best approach. But for some reason, I kind of don't really do it myself. I accept the invites, but I don't very often throw them out. It's like it's easier for me to just compete with everybody else and do the quest myself. And I am like actively trying to change my mindset on that, because that's dumb. not only is it dumb, I kind of consider it to be self-serving on my part. Like, it's just selfish, and it's when we could all just team up and everybody benefits from farming the quest. Why would you not do that, you know? So those are one of the areas that I have to overcome with myself, though. Okay, we're going to go up and grab this flight, this griffin ride down to Booty Bay and turn in all these quests. We've gotten all the greens knocked out. We got one gray that we're not really going to get much from or anything. Find out whatever might be available as far as follow-up quests. There should be a few. There's going to be some quest chains, right? We got to get back to the road and head north. Oh, 5. I missed 5. Ugh. 35 and 4. I should go do that. I absolutely should. Alright.
Need help?
Go away, dumb
You need
tiger.
something?
7 intellect. What I have is better. Okay, so, oh, you're new. 455 to 585, you're just overflow. Okay, get rid of that. What do we got here? 10 singing, 8 tumbled. Get rid of that and that. Heavy blasting powder. Nothing has come back on the AH for me. Remember, we're aiming for... I forgot what it was, guys. I think it's 40 gold. To get the Swift Mount riding. I need that. Okay. Iron ore. 10 ore in this page. Okay, looking good. We're going to head out to that island. Right out here. Locate the haunted island. Let's see. Wasim says you should try dungeons, not only for the multiplayer vibe, but better loot and more XP. But you can get good groups or bad ones. Yeah, I should do that. With this character, the problem is that I really enjoy the leveling experience, and I'm just getting back into WoW, so I'm kind of having fun going through world leveling. But over on Season of Discovery, I mean, you can only go to level 25 right now, so what else are you going to do, right? My Paladin is level 19 right now. My Priest is sitting there at 16, but I haven't really done much with him ever since I learned that Priests kind of suck. And Season of Discovery. They're great for healing. But I don't know if I want to be a full-time healer. I did that once before, and I've heard that WoW has changed since then. It was already high pressure, tanking and healing. I have an interest in both. But I've heard that it's gotten really ugly with what the expectations are. And kind of what I would deem to be kind of this sense of entitlement from the DPS or from people expecting you to be a pro at everything right off the bat. I don't know. These are the complaints I hear. To me, it sounds like there's a simple there's a workaround. Where there's a will, there's a way. Yeah, there's going to be tons of people complain, but it seems like if you're interested in learning how to tank or learning how to heal, that there's a guild out there that'll work with you on it. I just have a hard time believing that that's not the case. But at any rate, these negative complaints are playing in a role into what I want to do. And I don't think I want to be a full-time healer at this point. Okay. There we go. You know what? I think I can use this right here. No, that sends me to South Shore. I don't want to go to South Shore. I thought that I set my Hearthstone yesterday in Booty Bay. But before moving on to WoW retail and starting a new hunter, in accordance with the plan that I'm following, that croc looks awesome. I grew up in Florida. These things, that looks amazing, man. Oh, he's got whiskers. That's a cross between a dragon and a crocodile. What was I saying? Oh yeah, before I move over to retail, like the plan calls for, and starting a new hunter, I want to do the dungeons. I want to do the dungeons in Burning Crusade and in Wrath of the Lich King. I did experience, I think, most of the dungeons in Burning Crusade, but I want to see it again. And I don't... Yeah, I quit Wrath just a couple months after its release, I think. It might have even been weeks after its release. So I definitely haven't seen any of the dungeons for Wrath of the Lich King, and that's exceptionally doable. Dungeons are totally doable. Raids are a different story, but dungeons can be done. Large room for forgiveness there for people as far as skill level. All right. We should be coming up on this place. Yeah, real close. And when it comes to tanking, well, like I'm kind of back and forth on Warrior and Paladin, but I can tell you the truth right now. I want to play Paladin. I like the concept. I like the idea behind it. It's just that it intimidates me because Paladin tanking seems to be about all the utility. You got to be so aware of everything happening in the raid as a whole, and you have tons and tons of abilities, and you need to be healing the raid. You need to be laying on hands on people. You're doing all of that while you're tanking. That, I'll be honest, that looks intimidating to me. That straight up scares me. Like, can I do that? And it's funny because it's like, well, you know, kids are doing that. So why not me? I don't have a flight path. I can't believe I didn't find a flight path down there. Do they not have one? They gotta have one. We gotta take the long way there, man. And I gotta set my Hearthstone there. I can't believe I didn't set my Hearthstone already. Normally I'm pretty Johnny on the spot with that kind of a thing. You could always solo them, especially the low-level ones. Oh man, I'll be honest, Wasim, that idea absolutely thrills me. Being able to go back and experience all of the classic Azeroth World of Warcraft dungeons and raids with a level 120 character that can solo, like a hunter or a warlock. That's flipping way, that like turns the juice up for me. That's really exciting for me. I totally seriously want to do that. You know. And honestly, I keep forgetting that that's an option. because I'm basically just focused on what's right in front of me, which is experience this plan that I've got, you know, of experiencing all the content, the expansions as a whole, and using Chromie time and stuff like that. And I keep forgetting that you are totally able at level 120 to go solo these lower level places. I'm really glad you mentioned that, Wasim. I'd forgotten about that. Golly, man, I'm torqued up right now. That's a thrilling idea to me. It's definitely a bucket list item. Gotta do. I want to be able to. Can you solo raids, low level raids? Would I be able to solo Molten Core or Onyxia? At level 120? Talk about feeling powerful. That could actually be absolutely insane. You know, when it comes to like the endorphin rush. Hey, Wasim says yes. Wasim says yes. That's the greatest affirmation I've received in a while, you know, when it comes to video games. Like, that's exciting news, man. I totally want to do that. I'm going to have to buy more months of WoW subscription time. There's so many things I'm wanting to experience. I'm having a lot of fun doing this. At level 80, you can easily solo the Vanilla and Burning Crusade raids. No, the Burning Crusade ones also? All the Illidan stuff? At level 80? Wow. I've never even seen it, man. I don't even think I've watched it on YouTube. That's pretty incredible. That sounds very exciting. Here's Samantha again. We're going to leave her alone. Merry Christmas, Samantha. We could stop for more questing, but I think I want to just get straight back, turn in what I can, clear up as much bag space as possible. Hey, that white gorilla, is that an elite? No. Elder Mistveil gorilla. Okay. Yeah, there's a whole mess of them. Okay. I thought that guy was unique for a minute. I assume so, just by some of the things that you've said today, Wasim, but did you think that Wrath of the Lich King was the best expansion and that it kind of progressively got worse from there up to the point that you quit? I think you quit on... Oh, I forget what it's called, like the Iron Legion, or... It was the one with Legion in the name. I believe that's where you said you quit WoW. So that would be, what, like 3 expansions after Wrath, I think? right, let's zoom in. Oh, is that the flight path? No, Winter's Presence. Okay. Flight path will be like that guy right there. There he is.
Sure, I remember you, adventurer. Back from scouting, I see. Shiver me timbers. So the Bloodsail Buccaneers are planning some sort of attack on Booty Bay? Why, the nerve of those scoundrels. Booty Bay will always be run by the Blackwater Raiders. This is bigger than I thought. Report what you have learned to Fleet Master Seahorn at once. The old Sea Dog is around town somewhere.
This dude's still dying from poison. We didn't prioritize him at all. Quad K says Legion was a good expansion. The artifact challenge and class mounts, etc., were fun, and the PvP was fine too. Oh, okay.
Talk to me. Keep it real. Aha! These will do nicely, adventurer. Yes, quite nicely. Here's your cut and ... It was a pleasure doing business with you.
Here's your cut and ...
Of operations through Stranglethorn, which keeps hard-working goblins like me from making honest gold. Please, you must help me. The Venture Company is mining near the Crystalvine Mine to the north. They can't get into the mine because of all the basilisks, but they're still able to dig up singing crystals from the surrounding hills. Take their crystals from them and show them they don't have the run of the jungle, and, bring me those crystals as proof. So my information was correct, as usual. Interesting. Well,
as usual.
I don't suppose they pose any sort of threat of interference with our operation, but perhaps they have a need for some of our excellent manufactured products. Oh, I see. It's a Krazex crockpot. An ingenious piece of work, but it can break a spring or throw a gear now and then. Let me see what's wrong with this one. Ha-ha. Its steam charger is rusted out, it has a cracked knuckle gasket, and its fobulator is missing teeth. I'm surprised the pot could even boil a turnip in this state. Can I fix it? Of course I can fix it, but there's a price. Oh yes, there is always a price. There is a mountain cave in Dry
I like
Whiskey
these
Gorge,
goblins, man. I want to play
far
one.
north in the Arathi Highlands. In that cave is rare ore, bloodstone. The bloodstone in this cave is not of the highest grade, but even low-quality bloodstone is valuable. To those with the knowledge to use it, I would like some. I will fix your crockpot, but while I work on it, bring me samples of bloodstone. Bring me enough, and I'll even give you a bonus. Oh, and if you don't have the skill to mine it, find someone who does. Oh, excellent! Excellent! That'll help a little for the present. What? You're still here? Reward? Oh, right. Of course. Here, take this. It should be more than enough. Fascinating. That the crystals have been tumbled using this process can only indicate that they are planning to use them as some sort of fuel or other catalyst. I don't know much more than that. Samples will have to be dispatched to head chemist Gigglefont. It's expensive and hard to kill enough tigers to support the export of tiger fangs to the islands in the South Seas. Luckily, we've developed a technique that allows us to take mundane horn-like objects and turn them into undetectable forgeries.
Oh,
the
no.
closest match we've found, amazingly, are the tusks of the skull splitter trolls. Hey, before you say anything, what the buyer doesn't know doesn't hurt them, am I right? Bring me a large number of them, so we can
Holy
get to work on the monthly
smokes.
shipment.
Ah, the sea life. I ain't gonna say it's the good life, but it's my life. When I get into port, I like to find me a good bottle of grog and some high-quality snuff. Nasty habits, but what's a pirate without his vices, right? So you can imagine how heartbroken I was to find out the herbalist here in town has gone and sold out of the stuff. Says his shipment got hijacked by those damn Bloodsail raiders. I bet a fearless adventurer like you could convince them to share the goods, eh?
What a fantastic zone. There's so many interesting stories going on here. All right, now that all those guys are done talking, let's look at what Quad says. Legion was a good expansion. The artifact challenge and class mounts, etc., were fun, and the PvP was fine too. Do you get the voice to quest givers with that questy add-on? No, Quad K. what is that thing called? Let's see. I think it's called voiceover. And there's some complexities here. It's not super bad, but you just got to be aware. Here it is. Okay, voiceover. So you go to CurseForge and you look up voiceover. This is a relatively new add-on. It's using AI voice. But make sure that whenever you look at it, you look at the area that it actually describes and talks about it, and it'll tell you, here's another link to the data. And it tells you that this data package is so big that sometimes CurseForge doesn't download it right. It should be about 1 gig worth of data, and you need both of these folders in your add-on section in order for this add-on to work. So that's how you do it. Wasim says, also the community changed, lack of decent content, all these things changed the game, hence why we have what we have now in retail. Yeah. Do you have, you don't have to, Wasim, but do you have, like, can you go into that a little bit more? Because that's something I don't quite grasp. I hear some rumblings and stuff, but I'm not quite sure. What kind of community, from your perspective, do we have in retail right now? Is it kind of like what I was talking about earlier, where I've heard that there's almost like a sense of entitlement amongst the DPS and the community as a whole is expecting you to know everything? Oh, that's probably what you're addressing. Lack of decent content, like you said, would lead to people doing the same content over and over. And so now you're supposed to know these fights. And when you don't, it's like a hassle and a bother, a hindrance for everybody to bring you up to speed. It sounds like that's what you're addressing. Is that what you're talking about?
Welcome to Booty Bay, partner. I hope your stay in my town is enjoyable and uneventful. Emphasis on the latter. We've got plenty of drink if you're thirsty, and plenty of bouncers if you're antsy. Now then, what can this humble servant of the Steamweedle cartel do for you? Better still, what can you do for me, eh?
That was a great
so the stories were
quote.
True. Incredible. However, we will need to figure out a way to defeat the curse of the Stone of the Tides, if we are to retrieve it. The curse is magical business. We'll need one of those wizards to help us out. The water elementals were no doubt summoned by Gazban, the goblin wizard rumored to have discovered the Stone of the Tides. As you may know, the Stone of the Tides curses its bearer, causing him to fade in and out of existence. Perhaps we can find a way to counteract the curse. We can have a mage of Dalaran analyze the magical residue of one of the water elemental's bracers. I need you to go back to the island and retrieve a few specimens.
Quest accepted water elementals. Quest accept. Oh, so it's not going to be in a quest. He said something there that was awesome. It was a good line. It was like, we have plenty of drinks if you're feeling something or another, and plenty of bouncers if you're feeling antsy. That's like that phrase, if you're feeling froggy, jump.
Bloodsail buccaneers attacking Booty Bay. They might as well throw themselves off the Overlook cliffs. Nonetheless, by bringing me this information, you have done my fleet of swashbucklers a great service. The Blackwater Raiders thank you. Kraz speaks highly of your dedication to the Blackwater Raiders. I am going to trust you with a mission of extreme importance to the fleet. Infiltrate the so-called Southern Command Post the Bloodsail Buccaneers have established on the Wild Shore. Raid the encampment. Bring me their charts along with their written orders. We shall see exactly what those scum are up to.
Okay. So, I want to get this flight path. How do I do that? It's right here. This should be, yeah, it's up there, isn't it? Like, you could climb to the very top. Yeah, here we go. It's all coming back to me now. Which one of you people are in charge here? There we go. Okay, let's go back into the inn and set my Hearthstone to here while I'm thinking about it. I don't want to forget that again. The N being down here. Innkeeper. There we go.
Come in, come in. Just don't sit too close to the stove. It hasn't exploded yet today, but just to be safe, I think you should sit elsewhere.
Okay, then there's a quest out. Actually, I think we need to come out here. A quest turn in over in this direction.
What can I do for you? Well done, adventurer. 10 stalks of Akiri's reed wasn't too much a challenge after all, huh? No offense to the Naga, but hey, everybody's got to make a living.
Oh, Quad K has some things to say on that.
Adventurer,
hold on just a
since I
second.
have you here, I got a message from Groy while you were gone. He mentioned being satisfied with the last shipment that arrived and has a client that wants some more of the stuff right away. I won't be heading to Theramore for a week, but if you're willing to make the journey, there's no reason you can't take the stuff for me. Feeling adventurous? You do know where Dustwallow Marsh is, don't you? I'd be careful, though. Theramore can be dangerous if you're the wrong kind of crowd.
Okay, Quad K says, I lost my motivation to raid in retail a long time ago because people are raging and kicking players from raids. Also, everybody just looks at the DPS meter and the most toxic game experience for sure. Wow. Well, that's good to know. That must be why so many people are coming back to these classic servers. And I did hear that, that it's like a cooldown timer simulator where you're not even watching what's going on in the screen, and even if you did, everything is so chaotic that you're not really even sure what your class is doing or what you're doing as an individual to help affect the fight. It's just a whirlwind of numbers, and things are so overly complex. I think I was listening to Asmongold on this. And I don't know a lot about Asmongold. I just know he's really popular for WoW stuff, so sometimes I bring a video up. Or I'll search something. I'll search a topic about World of Warcraft, and one of his videos will appear. And I was listening to him, and that's what he was... He didn't say it. It was one of the people watching him commented on it, and then he replied to the comment. And that things had gotten overly complicated. It wasn't fun. It lost its sense of purpose. It was like a cooldown timer simulator where you're not even really watching what's going on the screen. You're just watching your numbers here and stuff like that. Wasim says the community broke into two main groups, casuals and raiding/end gamers. I see. Okay. Well, I'm a casual. I guess as long as you know what group you are and you kind of stick to that, then you'll probably be all right. But pugging sucks. So it can. Let me say that. It can suck. Particularly in PvP. I don't have a whole lot of interest in PvP, though, so that's not a big deal for me. There's a quest over here. The kind of PvP I like is like a blend between PvP and PvE. The more people there are, the better. That's why I like Aldrich Valley so much. I can't quite see where that is. It must be up above. It must be in one of these buildings with an upstairs element to it. Or it's up on those ramps. Let's switch to aspect of the cheetah. On my right, there it is. Dizzy One Eye.
Avast! Who goes there? I am but useless without me special enchanted eye. bad enough to have lost me eyes in battle in the first place, but by some stroke of luck we docked in Menethil, and a traveling wizard enchanted a special glass eye that let me see again. Last night I ended up getting jumped by some bloodsail buccaneers on me way out. Took me eye, they did. Seems those blokes have found their way to Booty Bay. Help an old sea dog out by getting me eye back?
All right.
Light bless you.
And then Wasim goes on to say Blizz would make it over difficult or dumbed down, hence the issues. And then Quad K says Asmongold is not really a raid leader to look up to either. Pretty toxic guy. Yeah, I've heard some people say that. I don't really know what to think. I guess I haven't heard any of his content where I would describe him as toxic, but I've heard some people say that he is. But I don't watch him a whole lot either. It's just that his videos come up, I'll click on them, and I'll listen to him riff on a topic, and sometimes I agree with him, and sometimes I'm like, I don't know about that. But like literally, like I don't have an opinion on it. I don't have enough data to know. But mostly what I've gotten from him that's been useful is whenever he is addressing something and then he looks at his chat and somebody has brought something up in his chat, and then he goes into more detail on that. And some of those things have been helpful for me. But as far as watching him play the game or lead a raid or how he treats his guild members, I haven't seen even an ounce of that. I have no idea. I can't speak to it. What level are you, sir? Way over my level. Here's a level 41 rogue. Rouge. A rouge. Okay, well, let's go ahead and call it good for today's stream. That's where we're at. We still have some green quests to do. Let me try and get down to ground floor. There we go. What level are they? Level 37, level 37. Okay, we are level 41 still, I think, or 42. Are we 42? Yeah, we're 42. So I actually have hunter training I can do. What can we learn? Multi-shot rank 3 and serpent sting rank 6. Okay. And if we look here, I've already spent the talent point. Alright, so we are level 42. We have 2 green quests that are ranked at level 37, and then we're into the yellows, and this is where we should really start to see our XP per hour pick up. Curious by the bundle, who do I give this to? Privateer Groy and Theramore. Oh, that's a long ways away. And then there's Tanaris. Steamweedle Port. Oh, and then we got a dungeon. ZF. Okay. That I'm almost assuredly not going to do. Humans look so terrific. Both the male and the female models in their armor, they look great. But I am real happy with my dwarf. I think he looks fantastic. Look at how detailed. I like his face, man. And this is the non-new graphics of retail. He looks even better in retail. I modeled this guy in retail also. So, I don't know. I'm really pleased, guys. But yeah, we'll pick it up. Well, I said tomorrow. I usually don't stream on weekends. It'll probably be Monday. This is Friday, right? Am I forgetting that? Yeah, Friday. Okay, I wanted to make sure. My sleep schedule is such that a lot of times my days blend together. So I have to always double check what day of the week am I on. But Monday, I think, is where we'll pick this up again. as per usual, I want to let you know that there's a chance I may play this character off screen. But I'll always tell you what I did. I'll give you kind of a recap. And on that note, I will say Happy New Year to you guys. And hope you have a great TGIF and a better weekend. And I'll see you on Monday or next week, whenever I see you, basically. You guys take care. It's been a blast. And yeah, we'll end it on that.